go through. First one you're going to do, I'll just give myself some room here. The first one is a lunge onto your right leg. So you're going to step forward, come into a lunge. If you can't do the back and forth, you can just sort of come up and down with your right leg in front. That's your first exercise. Your second exercise, lunging on your left leg. Your third exercise, you're going to have some weights in your hands, ceiling, and then squat down and then punch back up. Your fourth and fifth exercise, balance standing on one leg. If that's too hard, you can stand with one foot in front of the other in a heel to toe fashion. And if that's too easy, you can stand on one leg and turn your head side to side to make it a bit more challenging. The last two, if I show you onto the bed, so everyone can see me, you're going to be having your heels on the floor, pushing your hips up and down towards the ceiling. And if that's too easy, you can then have one leg and do half on the right and then half on the left. Or you can have a weight on your pelvis to make it a bit more challenging. The last exercise is a plank, either on your knees, elbows in your feet. So those are the variations. Anyone have any questions about that? So we're going to start off with our first exercise. So the first exercise is a lunge on our right leg. And we're starting in 3, 2, 1. So those who didn't get to see, right leg in front, lunging up. And if you find that too easy, you can use some weights in your hands to come up and down. And if that's too challenging, you can do it a little bit closer together, or you can just do a squat up and down. The next exercise is just simply a lunge on the opposite leg, so on the left leg. We're going to go into our next exercise, lunging on our left leg, so making sure you're having that rest. Good. Everyone going okay so far? Next exercise we've got is a squat and overhead press. So if you can with those same weights, holding them above your shoulders, squatting down and punching up towards the ceiling. So we're going to do that in 3, 2, 1, squatting down, punching up. Good, looking good, everyone. Nice work. So try and keep your hands high up next to your shoulders. Don't let them come down to your sides. Try and keep them in a nice W position. Yep, perfect. Nice work. And then coming and punching up. All right, we've got 3 more seconds of this. And then I want you to have a rest, putting those weights down. And we're going to go into our single leg balance. So in 5 seconds, we're going to be doing single leg balance on our right side. So standing on that one leg, see if you can hold for the whole 45 seconds. And if that's too easy, you can have one foot in front of the other, or you can turn your head side to side if that's too hard. Good. All right, starting now. Good. Nice balance, everyone. It's hard to know if the screen's frozen or everyone's just very nice and controlled in their balance. This is looking good. Of having your core engaged. That's what I want you to focus on. That's going to help stabilize you when you're doing these movements. All right, we've got 5 more seconds of these, and then we're going to go into our squat and overhead press. So remember, again, keeping our hands around our shoulders, squatting down and punching up. So having a little break, we're going to do that in about 5 seconds. So use a weight that is comfortable for you. When you're ready, in 3, 2, 1, coming into those squats and overhead presses. Good, really nice, everyone, looking good. So try and maintain a nice upright posture when you're squatting down. I don't want you to round your back. You can lean forward slightly, but you want to keep a nice straight back as you're squatting down and then punching up. So think core engage, shoulder blades squeeze back. Good. In 5 more seconds, we're going to have a rest and we're going to go into our single leg balance. All right, in 3, 2, 1, having a rest. Putting those weights down, I want to see, can you make it a little bit more challenging for this round, for the balance, by either turning your head side to side, you can close your eyes, or if you're on both feet, now going on to just one foot. So we're starting that now, starting with balance on your right leg. If you're finding it difficult to balance, what can often help is engaging your core muscles or squeezing your glutes. What that does is, again, like I said before, it stabilizes the pelvis and the lower back, which gives you a more solid foundation to balance on the legs from. Whereas if you're loose through your core or loose through your glutes, the legs often have to do more to stabilize you from the bottom up. Whereas if you have a solid foundation and trunk, it means that you're not having to wobble around as much because the legs are in a better position. So with that in mind, having a rest now, and then we're going to move on to single leg balance on the left leg. And just see if you notice the difference. If you try and actively engage your glutes and your core, see if it feels a little bit easier and you can get a little bit more strength through that position. So coming onto our left leg now. Good, nice positioning, everyone. Another way that you can make it challenging if you want to, if you don't like turning your head side to side, is have an uneven surface underneath your feet. So you can put a pillow down, or you can stand on a couch or a mattress, whatever's safe, of course. If you don't want to get your pillows dirty, put a towel over your pillow as well. Good, keep going with this one. We've got 5 more seconds left, then we're onto our glute bridge, lying on our back, lifting our hips up towards the sky. 3, 2, 1, having a rest there. Lying on your back. If you want to make it harder, remember you can either do it on one leg or you can do it with a weight on your stomach. The heavier you can go or the harder you can go, the better. All right, so when you're on the ground and you're ready, we're going to be starting that now. For those doing it on one leg, I'll tell you when the halfway point is and you can swap over to the other side. So for those doing it on one leg, I want you swapping over now. Good, we've got 10 seconds remaining, and then we're going to go onto our front to do our plank position. And having a rest there. Coming onto our front, doing our plank. Now, if you did it on your elbows in the last set, I want to see, can you try and do it on your hands? Because if we get used to putting weight and pressure through our wrists and our hands in that position, it can protect us if we have a fall onto our hands. Because as we've spoken about before, starting now when you can, as we've spoken about before, being on your hands will help that if you have a fall, you're not likely to break your wrist or your radius, which is another very common fragility fracture site if you've got osteoporosis. So less common in terms of exercises targeted towards bone health, but equally as important because a wrist fracture, while it's less serious compared to a lower back fracture or a hip fracture, is also very important to maintain our independence. And so if you have a wrist fracture, it means that you're less likely to go out and do things, which means you're going to get weaker. So we want to also make sure we're protecting this area. All right, we're going to stop in 3, 2, 1, having a proper rest now. Good work, doing well, everyone. Get yourself a little drink of water. Shake out any cobwebs if there's any left after 2 rounds. And then we're going to do our last set. So we've got 1 more round of these exercises. So I want to see, can you go even harder in the 3rd round compared to the 1st and 2nd? We always want to make sure that we're not pushing weight or pushing difficulty for the sake of it. We're always doing this with safety and with good form and control. That's going to give us good longevity. Right. When everyone is ready, in about 10 seconds, we're going to get started with our third round, beginning with right lunges with that right leg in front. So in 3, 2, 1, good, coming into that lunge position. Well done, everyone, for joining us on a nice, beautiful Saturday morning. Hope everyone's got some fun plans for the day. Good, we've got 20 more seconds of this. Good, and we're going to be swapping over in just over 5 seconds. Sorry, having a rest in 5 seconds, and then we'll swap over to the left side. Having a rest now. And we're going to be now coming on to our left side in 5 seconds. When you're ready, in 3, 2, 1. Good, doing really nice, everyone. Keep it up. Good, we've got 15 more seconds, and then we're going to go into our squat and overhead press. So if you can use those same weights to have them over your head as you're doing a squat and then punching up towards the ceiling, that'd be great. Having a rest in 3, 2, 1. So we're coming now into our squat and overhead press. Weights above our shoulders. In 3 seconds, we're going to be coming and going up and down with our squats. So whenever you're ready, coming up and down now. Good. Nice work. It's also very important whenever we're doing exercise, especially for bone health. We're going to be using our energy systems a lot. So it's good to ensure that you're having a nice carbohydrate and protein-rich breakfast after doing exercise. It's going to help replenish any energy that you've used during the session and make sure that we're not taking energy away from sources such as our bone to replenish the fuel that we've consumed in this exercise session. So Greek yogurt, got a little bit of calcium as well, protein in any form that you can. Having a rest there, we're going to go into our single leg balance next. So always making sure that we are fueling our body for the exercise we need to, so we're not taking away energy from sources that need it, such as bone and muscle. Right. For those still going, we were having a rest for that exercise because we're going on to our single leg balance now. So whenever you're ready, coming onto your right leg into single leg balance. Good. This should be a nice little break after the lunges and squats, just to catch your breath and just find that calm point. Really focus on that control and the balance. Good. We've got 5 more seconds. Having a rest, and then we're going on to our left side for the balance. Okay, having a rest there. Coming onto our left in 5 seconds. In 3, 2, 1. Coming onto our left side now, balancing on that leg. As I said before, nice weather. Sun's out. Get some vitamin D on you. Also very important as we're coming to summer now to try and maximize that vitamin D, which is really helpful in carrying the calcium from the bloodstream into the bones. I almost like to think of the vitamin D as the courier and the calcium as the package that we're delivering to the bones to help increase our bone mineral density with the work that you're doing today in your strength training. Good. All right, we're going to be coming onto our glute bridge in 5 seconds. So getting onto your back when you can now. We've got 10 seconds before starting the exercise, so just get yourself all set up, either on one leg or with a weight on your tummy to make it a little bit more challenging. We've got 2 more exercises to go, and then we're done for this morning. So when you're ready, in 3, 2, 1, we're coming into that glute bridge. So if you're doing it on one leg, I'll tell you when the halfway point is. If you're doing it on both legs, that's great. See if you can have a weight on that stomach to make it a little bit more challenging. Good. For those on one leg, swapping over now. Great. In 3, 2, 1, having a rest there. Coming to our final exercise, planking on our hands or our forearms, depending on what is more comfortable for you. But if you can, I'll try and ask to see if you can do it on your hands. If you don't have tennis elbow, like I know a few of you do, coming onto your hands or your elbows and either your knees or your feet. In 3, 2, 1, coming into that position now. Good, holding that there. We've got 20 more seconds to go, keep it up. All right, having a rest in 3, 2, 1, stopping there. Nice work, everyone. That is us all done for the morning.